Sakura Haruka is an ugly, pathetic loser who has never felt the touch of a woman. He doesn't have a life and just wants to fight strong opponents. However, his life changes completely when he gets admitted into Furin High, where random thugs pretend to be heroes of justice. In his dream, Sakura is walking all alone on a thin rope, whilst remembering all the brutal things people have said about him. They gossiped about his hair, and the teachers even bullied him for this. Amidst all this, Sakura angrily wakes up and grits his teeth. After this, he ventures into the town in his uniform as, in the meantime, some random wannabe thugs are bullying a girl. The girl wants to beat the living shit out of them, but remembers that she is carrying eggs, and that their ugly faces are not worth it. Ignoring the ugly thug, the girl attempts to walk away, but the guy grabs her arm. Sakura notices this and approaches them. He advises them not to engage in lame stuff during broad daylight, but the guy ignores his advice and attempts to punch him. Sakura dodges his measly punch and gives them a good beating, just like my abusive ex. He even tells them to remember his name and spread it, so that weaklings like him don't come across him. With this, Sakura leaves them, and as he is leaving, the girl approaches him and expresses her gratitude. Being a pathetic loser, Sakura had never felt the touch of a woman and gets flustered.
Oh my god! Wow!
He makes some random excuses as the girl offers him some food. Sakura follows her to her restaurant where she cooks him omelette rice. She tells him that people don't usually move into this town owing to its bad reputation. She then introduces herself as Kotoha Tachibana, as Sakura wonders why she is so friendly with him, as people usually freak out. Following some random chit-chat, Tachibana notices Sakura's hair and his unusual eye color. Sakura's thick skull misunderstands this as an insult and challenges Tachibana to a battle. Tachibana, however, calms him down and explains that she wasn't glaring at him for a battle. Hearing this, Sakura explains that looks don't matter in a battle, and the reason he got admitted into Furin is because he wants to take over the top spot. Suddenly, Tachibana points out Sakura's lame is wearing a school uniform on a Sunday, and she mocks him for this. Sakura explains that he just moved in here and didn't have other clothes. Following this, Sakura helps an old fart out and receives some candies for him. He still cannot comprehend how people are expressing their gratitude to him, even though he looks like a pathetic loser. Hearing all this, Tachibana tells him that he made the right choice choosing Furin, but reminds him that he won't be able to reach the top because he's alone. This infuriates Sakura, as he asserts that he's not so weak that he has to rely on others. With this, Sakura leaves the restaurant and heads back home. Meanwhile, some losers are wreaking havoc in the town to satisfy their pathetic, fragile egos. Just then, they come across Sakura, who was minding his own business. It turns out that ugly punk is back to get his revenge, but Sakura ignores him, just like my crush ignores me. The guy then notices his hair and eye color and makes fun of him. This puts an ugly smirk on Sakura's face as he decides to give up being the nice guy. The ugly punk keeps provoking Sakura and he gets his ass whooped again. He takes on all the losers by himself and beats the living shit out of them. Just then, Tachibana hears some commotion outside and decides to sneak a peek. Well, she ends up becoming a hostage as a loser threatens Sakura, but gets folded immediately. Now, Sakura has to fight all these punks while protecting Tachibana. During their battle, a guy manages to slice his ankle with a knife, which holds back Sakura. Another guy then attempts to strike him with a bat, but he gets saved by a massive guy who tells Tachibana to not inform someone about this battle. As they are conversing, 3 more guys appear at the spot, as Sakura recognizes them as students from Furin. He fails to comprehend why they are helping him, as the guys brawl it out with the punks. Sakura also notices that the townspeople are also cheering them, which further shocks him. Tachibana explains that this town was a mess some years ago, with various gangs and groups fighting amongst themselves. However, all of this changed when students of Furin stepped up to help the town. They put up a sign threatening the thugs not to hurt the townspeople, as the locals granted them the name Bofurin. Seeing all these students acting like some heroes of justice pisses off Sakura. He cannot comprehend that people fighting like that are respected by the people. Just as he's thinking about all this, some locals approach Sakura and express their gratitude to him as well. Sakura gets flustered by all of this because people have never treated him right before. Seeing this, Tachibana treats his injured leg and tells him that the people of the town will depend upon him. She further tells him that he is not a loser because of himself, but because of the people around him, and that he can become someone he wants in this town. This makes him realize something really important, as he kicks the ugly punk right in the face. Sakura enters Kotoa's restaurant carrying Granny Sato on his back, and the frustration on his face is apparent. He tells Grandma to get off his back now, or else he would slap her. The grandma gets off his back with a jump, while deeming him a pathetic loser for his behavior. Sakura gets frustrated to see that she could walk properly, while she told him that her hips hurt so bad that she couldn't walk. Sakura is about to leave the restaurant angrily, but Kotoa stops him and serves him a yummy sandwich for breakfast. She starts passing teasing comments. It turns his cheeks red, which makes them realize that he's just your typical tsundere. Actually, Sakura quickly gets annoyed at lame jokes and taunts. He tells her with frustration that he was just out for a walk but ended up carrying the old lady to a restaurant. Amidst this chit-chat enters Nirai, another pathetic loser with weird-ass bright yellow hair, who has just got admission into Furin. He is just as dumb as he looks because he forgot to remove tags from his new uniform. He notices his white hair and wondered if his father went outside to buy milk and never returned. Kotaha introduces them to each other. Nirai is a fanboy who keeps writing about people in his diaries. He unconsciously frustrates Sakura by obsessing over how cool Furin students are and how they can save the citizens from dastards. He further adds that they are heroes for the people as they stand up for the weak and crush the cruel. He finds out that Sakura doesn't belong to this town and asks him why he came to this town. Sakura replies by saying that he wants to be on the top spots, and as they are the best, he would be satisfied if he was the best amongst them. It would make him feel nice to be a hero of justice. Nirai further annoys him by cracking another lame joke that he shouldn't toil hard for getting the top position, as it may turn him bald, whilst referring to his white hair. As Neri leaves, Sakura tells Kotoha that people like Neri are weak and aren't worthy to be at Furin. A hero of justice should be cooler than that, because those who just think about their style always get frightened and withdrawn from the fights or end up getting beaten up. Kotoha asks him to broaden his mind by giving him an example of how coffee fruit is red in the beginning before turning into a brown coffee bean. She tells him how she always thought coffee beans were harvested in the same form as they reach us. Her perception changed when she came to know that the coffee fruit is red and not dark brown. She motivates him that there's always another side of the story which he may not know, and advises him not to make assumptions just by looking at one side of the picture. While Sakura is on his way to the Furin, with Kotaha's words reverberating in his mind, many people hand him eatables as a token of gratitude, as he is now amongst both Furin and owing to his bravery yesterday. However, All these things are against his nature and gets him irritated. He wonders if there's something wrong with the people of this town, as they are too friendly with a guy like him. All of a sudden, a girl appears out of nowhere and asks for his help. To his surprise, he sees Neri trying to hold back a bunch of rascals, but he isn't strong enough for them. He is getting beaten up and bullied by them. They are making fun of him by saying that he can't be a protector of the people like Bofferins, as he's weak and needs protection himself. Actually, they were harassing that girl when Neri stepped in and tried to stop them. When they are about to knock him down, Sakura steps in and beats them up in no time, saving Neri's sorry ass. Neri starts crying as he is startled and traumatized. He narrates a story from the past that once a Bofferin saved him from bullies, and since then he always wanted to be one of them. But maybe he isn't quite strong enough. He starts questioning his worth. Sakura remembers the words of Kohota and the fact that Neri actually tried to save a girl from harassment despite being weak. He tells Neri that at least he isn't lame. The girl also arrives there and thanks both of them for their help. Neri stands up and starts collecting data about Sakura in his notepad. He also offers to accompany him to school. Sakura starts eating to compensate for the calories burnt in the fight. Neri tells him to hurry up as they are getting late for school. He also tells him to keep a smile on his face and not to fight so that others don't doubt him as an enemy, as he is an outsider. Well, who knew that Neri would be his first friend in the school? Ha, lol. Both of them check for their assigned sections of the notice board, and guess what? They're in the same section. Neri is very excited to meet some of his favorite Bofferin. As they enter the class, So welcomes them by cracking some jokes. Just when Neri thinks So is about to engage in a fight with Sakura, he gets surprised to see that Yu warmly welcomes him with others in the class. Both Sakura and Neri were not expecting a warm welcome from a class full of punks. Everything seems fun until a table is thrown with their group by a dangerous-looking boy, Kyotaro, who loves challenging others in fighting as much as Sakura does. Neri tries to stop Sakura by telling him that Kyotaro is a very dangerous fighter, but Sakura gets ready to teach him a lesson. As Sakura and Sugusita indulge in a tussle, Su narrates that Sugusita is a huge fan of the leaders of Furin, and he was so passionate even during his middle school that they allowed him to be called a member of Bofferin. No one else has ever been entitled as a member before entering the high school. Since Sakura wants to be on the top spots, Sugusita found it offensive and an insult to their leader and attacked him. Both start attacking each other, and unlike everyone's expectations, Sakura kicks him and blood rushes out of Sugusita's mouth. All of a sudden, an announcement interrupts their fight and everyone starts listening in. It's Hajime Umemaya, the representative of Bofferin. Everyone stands still out of respect, and Sugusita starts wiping the blood off his face. Umemaya tells them to enjoy their lives and make a lot of memories instead of fighting on their very first day. He further says that they should protect the town, the people, and their beliefs, as now they are the members of Bofferin. They should protect everything they value, and this is the only rule of their school. While everyone else is busy idolizing Umemaya, Sakura thinks about what kind of guy Umemaya is, even though he is not present in front of them, but his words have made him feel a sense of solidarity with others. Su asks both of them to shake hands in order to end the beef amongst them. Sakura denies it by saying that Sugusita was the one to start the fight and he hasn't even evened it out yet. Su scares Sugusita by saying how Umemaya would feel when he hears that you fought someone on the very first day and motivates him to shake hands with Sakura. Finally, they end the fight with a handshake. Everyone jumps on Sakura and praises his combat skills. For the first time ever, Sakura feels appreciated and feels like he's home. He never thought that the human body would be this much warmer. At this point, seniors order the class to come out. Hiragi, who's going to be their class captain, scolds them for their unpunctuality while counting to the milliseconds. Sakura remembers that he is the same person that saved him and Kotoha yesterday. When Nirai calls out Kotoha's name, it makes Hiragi lose control. Hiragi shuts Sakura's mouth frantically, as he doesn't want anyone to know about the incident. He tells Sakura that he would spit blood if Umemaya got to know that Kotoha was in danger. It shows that there may be some kind of relationship between Umemaya and Kotoha. He takes a few pills named recap-kun for his upset stomach before going back to his position. Nirai even notes down the names of these pills on his notepad. Nirai then informs Sakura about Furin that Umemaya is their representative, and there are 4 king, each of them being the captains of one class in each of 3 grades. He further informs him that there are 4 teams in each grade, namely Tamon, Jikoku, Zujo, and Komoku. He tells him that they are the members of Team Tamon, led by Hiragi. After this, Hiragi tells everyone to split up into groups of 4 or 5, and each group will have 1 second year and 1 third year supervisor whom they will have to follow in order to learn. He then orders them to come along with him for patrolling the town. On the order of Umemaya, he is keeping a keen eye on Haruka and Sugashita, so that they don't fight again. Hiragi tells them that they don't fight unless someone else makes the first move, and their patrolling in uniform has reduced the crime rate a lot. Haruka gets disappointed to know that their job rarely involves a fight, and most of the time they just help others in doing stuff, such as painting over graffiti-laden walls for shopkeepers and residents. He finds it dull, but Higuri scolds him by saying that he is dull if fighting is the only thing that satisfies him. But exchange of words, needing someone and being needed by someone, are the things that can satisfy a person well. The patrolling team reaches at the end of one side of the town, which is separated by a tunnel from the enemy's territory. Nirai fearfully informs Sakura that on the other side of the tunnel, the area belongs to another team called Shishitoren, and they are so ruthless that even their name means devotee of power. Sakura finds it interesting, and while he is thinking about it, he sees a middle school boy of their own town running towards them from the other side of the tunnel. He is trying to protect himself whilst being chased by the members of Shishitoren. As soon as Shishitoren's members push the boy down on the ground from behind, Sakura and Sugashita arrive and knock one of them down. It terrifies everyone, as it can start a war between the two groups. During all this drama, one of the most powerful fighters and second in command of Shishitoren, Joe Tagame, arrived. Apparently, he looks cool, but when he finds out that his team members got knocked out by an opponent, he beats him until he bleeds heavily and disowns him from the team. Hiragi intercepts in between and clears him that his team members were chasing and attacking their boy, so they had to do it. Sakura almost picks a fight with Tagame, but he leaves, saying that he would beat Haruka at a proper place and time. At the end of this episode, Hiragi takes his recap-kun pills and tells him that Togami is very territorial, so he won't let it go easily. He asks that the middle school boy named Sasaki to accompany them and narrate the whole incident in front of Umemaya. While going there, Sakura keeps thinking how Umemaya would react and what kind of person he would be. To their surprise, when they reach the rooftop, they find Umemaya taking care of his plants in a cheerful mood, opposite to what they expected from a gang leader. Sue comments that he looks like a kindergarten boy, and the episode ends here.